All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started now. Let's see here. We've got the questions box that you can click the little plus sign on and ask any questions that you have, and I'm going to attempt to address those at the end of this if there are questions. If I don't get to your question, I will print out a list of them and email you back with the answer to your question. So today our webinar is on basically generating website traffic and capturing leads. Some easy and proven ways on generating website traffic, whether it be organic, free traffic, or through word-of-mouth marketing, as well as some pay-per-click stuff, and I'll just briefly touch on that real quick. And then, of course, it's also about capturing the traffic that you generate, making sure that if you're driving that traffic to your site, you have your property search set up right so that you will capture the leads. And that's more of the set it and forget it part, so we'll just briefly touch that. And we're going to be doing a little jumping around as well from PowerPoint to the internet. But again, my name is Grant Worthen. I'm the sales team lead here. I'm going to be doing this webinar today. I'm also going to preface this too with the fact that a lot of these strategies and ideas and concepts that I'm going to show you today, they're not just ideas that we came up with here. These are strategies that I personally have used myself to generate website traffic and leads for my wife, who happens to be a real estate agent. So they definitely do work, and I hope you'll take notes, and some of this will help you in your business. So the first part, which is capturing leads, it's great to drive traffic to your website, but we want to make sure we're providing them that property search to generate leads, and we also want to make sure that our property search is set up properly to capture the leads. So two things I want to point out as far as the settings go in capturing leads are the site login options in your back office. So everyone who signs up for the main real estate network website and property search is going to have a back office with a login. And so there's going to be site login options in there, user registration fields, and then we're going to go through lead capture tools as well. So to start with site login options, in your back office, you will have a section called site login options. And when you log in and click on that, you're going to get some options to set up user preferences for when the consumer has to register on your property search. And so those options are to view address of the property, and down below the second screenshot there on the lower left-hand side, you'll see that it says address and then it says unlock. So that's an example of setting up that preference or enabling that preference to require login to view address. It would then restrict the address. The second one is to view front page. What that is, it essentially means that once that consumer clicks on the property search and wants to go and search listings, it's going to ask them to register. I don't always advise this because they can get the data at other places, and it's nice to get them committed to your property search and to what you have to offer first before you ask for that commitment back. But the third one down, to view search results, that's not a bad option. That would allow the consumer to search for listings, and then to view the results of listings, they would have to actually register. So at least in that case, they can kind of see what they're registering for. The fourth one down, though, which is my favorite, is login to view details. And then you're able to set a number of detail views. You'll see on this screenshot here, it says login required to view details. You can set this number from anywhere from 1 to 10. And that's a great option because you're allowing the consumer to actually search, view listings, anywhere from 1 to 10. And in order to continue viewing listings, they would then have to register and create their profile. And then the last but not least is the login to view remarks. So asking a consumer to log in on your property search to view the remarks of a specific property. Okay, so along with capturing leads, user registration fields. What I want to show you here, this is basically a section in your back office. Again, when you sign up for that WolfNet property search with the WordPress website, you'll get a back office where you can go in and you can set up these preferences. Second being user registration fields. So these would be the fields that you either require when the consumer registers on your property search, make optional, or don't show. typically required are going to be name, email, and password. The optional fields will be, like say phone, price range, working with an agent. Those are some good settings as well. And then lead capture tools to cap it off. It's important that you are familiar with all the lead capture tools on your website, the tools that the consumer will use as they get further along in that buying process. So the ability to inquire about a listing, request a showing, add to favorites, and save search. And I just wanted to briefly talk about save search. What the save search option does is it allows the consumer to go in, select a minimum price range, a maximum price range, a city, bedrooms, bathrooms, etc., and actually save their search. And then they're notified by your website of new listings that match their criteria. And I'm going to get into save searches a little bit later as well. And then they also have the option to email the listing to a friend. Okay, so now that we've gone over lead capture rules and how you can set up some of your settings to capture the leads and the tools that they will use, we're going to get into generating website traffic. There's essentially three main areas or three topics that we'll go over as far as generating website traffic to these sites and they are organic website traffic, which consists of blogging, creating hyperlocal content, sitemaps, which essentially is notifying the search engines of the pages associated with your website. It's a little bit more advanced, but I'll briefly touch that. And then backlinks, which is also a little bit more advanced, but I just wanted to go over that briefly with you as well and show you some examples. Then there's word of mouth marketing. Doing that, meeting someone at a grocery store, telling about your new website, your property search, using social media, meeting people at open houses, and Craigslist. And then there's paid website traffic. That would be pay-per-click campaigns, and using another tool in our back office called URL Search Builder that I know a lot of you are familiar with. So organic website traffic, what is it and how do you increase it? Organic website traffic is traffic that's driven to your website through search results such as Google, Bing, and Yahoo. And SEO is the process of optimizing your website to generate organic traffic through such mediums. So organic website traffic and SEO, they work together. You optimize your website to generate organic website traffic. And the way you optimize your website is by creating content. You can create content through blogging, through writing about neighborhoods, hyperlocal content creation, that's writing about neighborhoods, communities, sub-communities, etc. And then, of course, through the listings that are also on your website as well. Over here on the right-hand side, I just have a screenshot of Google search results. Having your website come up in the search results would be relevant to like SEO and organic website traffic. So let's first discuss blogging. Each of the main real estate network websites are set up with blogging and a blog. What I'm going to point out here is that blogging, you'll see on the screenshot on the lower right-hand side, I've highlighted in a red box that says latest from our blog. So at the bottom of each of your websites, we have what's called a blog feed. And essentially what happens is when you write content on your blog, we will feed that content to the home page of your site. Now, you might think, well, okay, why do you do that? The answer is because Google loves websites that are changing, especially home pages that have dynamic content that's changing on a regular basis. So when you're writing, when you're blogging, when you're creating, posts about new listings, you're blogging about neighborhoods, you're blogging about communities, that blog is feeding to your home page and notifying Google, hey, agent, John Smith's website has changed. There's new content on the home page. One example that I want to show you, and I'm going to jump to a website here real quick, is I want to show you how blogging can really affect search engine results for your listings too. Maybe you don't have a lot to blog about. You don't want to write about communities or neighborhoods. If you have listings, though, blog about your listings. Blogging, it's an easy way, especially with listings, to rank #1 for your website and for that specific listing in the search engine. You can easily beat Trulia and Zillow. This WordPress platform, when you go and you enter, you bring photos into your blog and you bring listing information, it is set up, 99% out of the gate and optimized to submit that content to Google and it will rank high in the Google search engine results for that specific listing address. Blogging is also an easy way to engage with the consumer. As I mentioned, it keeps your website updated with fresh content. And then I'm going to show you a quick demo here. I'm going to jump to the internet real quick, and I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to show you Googling an address. So again, I mentioned that my wife is a real estate agent. She has a WordPress website that is real similar to what we've set you guys up with. And what she does is when she gets a new listing, she'll actually go into her WordPress website and she'll blog about that listing. And all that means is she'll add some photos and she'll add some details about the property. So for example, here's one of her listings. If we go into Google, we type in 4206 Wooddale Avenue, St. Louis Park, Minnesota. You're going to see that the first website in the results here is her website. This is my wife's website. All she simply did was create a blog post about her listing she listed for sale. If you look down here, you're going to see Trulia is below hers. You're also going to find Zillow as the 5th result below my wife's website. And this is because Google's smart. They understand that Trulia, Zillow, they're automating the process of their listings, whereas when a local realtor creates that hyperlocal content and blogs about it, her listing is going to come up first. And so when we click on that results, you're going to see it will actually take us to her website with the listing she listed for sale. And so all she's simply done is you can see she's added her 15 photos of the property and added some content about it. And boom, great and easy way to drive traffic to your website, blogging about your listings. So creating hyperlocal content, the second piece. Again, we're still on content creation. These WordPress websites are all about having easy access to creating content for the search engines, because really content is king when it comes to ranking in the search engines for organic website traffic. So write about neighborhoods, write about communities, write about, about your listings, as well as other local content. You can use your blog on your website to write about specific communities. Again, I'm going to jump over to Google here and I'll show you. Oh, before I do that, actually, let me show you something too. So when you're creating content about your specific area, your communities, your neighborhoods you serve, you might not be able to read this here, but when I go to Google and I Google Minneapolis real estate, I'm getting 83 million results of websites that match the term Minneapolis real estate. Now here's a community or a neighborhood in Minneapolis real estate, Linden Hills real estate. With Linden Hills, I'm getting about 1,340,000 results. So you can see I'm getting less results for something that's like a neighborhood versus a city. When you're blogging, if you want your website to rank in the search engines for organic traffic, hyper-localize it. Target the neighborhoods you service. Target the cities, the communities, because you have a lot less competition at that level. The Zillows, the Trulias, et cetera, they're going to be less likely to target that kind of stuff. They're going for the big cities, et cetera. And a lot of the real estate agents are trying to go for the big cities as well. It's easier to generate website traffic at the local level, so down to the neighborhoods and that hyper-localized content. So again, if I jump over to Google real quick, I'll show you another thing that my wife does is she blogs about her local communities. So we go back to Google. You go ahead and maybe we've got a consumer or a client, a big area in Minneapolis is it's a lake called Lake Calhoun. Of course, we're the land of 10,000 lakes. So if we go to Google, we type in Lake Calhoun homes for sale. Now, I haven't done this in a while, so hopefully I can show you this. But when we get down to a few results, so here she is. Here's my wife's website. Again, it's, okay, so there's 3 organic results before her. There's some Google places in between her, and then here's her website. So again, she's creating that hyper-local content to the specific areas. Lake Calhoun, it's a neighborhood in Minneapolis. Linden Hills that I talked about earlier, that's another neighborhood in Minneapolis. She's not writing about Minneapolis, she's writing about the neighborhoods in Minneapolis. Side note, Google Places, another great way to generate organic content. Make sure you go into the Google Places dashboard or just Google, how do I set up Google Places. This is a great way to generate easy traffic to your website as well. Okay, so on to sitemaps. Now this is something that you don't really need to take notes on because we set you up with this automatically out of the gate when we build one of the main real estate network websites. Essentially what a sitemap is it is a list of all the website pages that get submitted to Google to notify Google that those pages exist. So when you're blogging, when you're creating that new neighborhood content or that new hyper-localized content or about your listing, what happens is our websites we've built for you for the main real estate network agents, this sitemap dynamically updates in the background and it notifies Google that there's a new page. And then Google comes back to your website, says, oh, there's new content on here, there's fresh new content. It indexes, therefore you tend to rank higher and it increases your rankings organically. So I'm going to go over and show you what a sitemap looks like real quick. And again, one way you can check to see if your website has this is if you go to your website address. Put a Firefox here. You go to your website address to /sitemap.xml. That will pull up the XML sitemap for your site. Now, again, this isn't something you need to worry about. We have this fully automated. But when we create a new page on a website, you'll see it will actually notify Google when that page was created. It'll have a link to it. This is essentially the map that Google looks at so it can index and take account of your website when people are Googling certain terms. And we set this up for you out of the gate. So organic website traffic, backlinks, and page rank. This is a bit more advanced. It's an advanced topic. What are backlinks? Backlinks are essentially links from other websites that are pointing to your website. Right here, I've got a screenshot of, this is called the hub and spoke model, okay? So one easy way to create backlinks, and one way that you should target your internet content and your internet technologies online, is that you should have your website, which is in the middle here. It's titled blog in this image. And then you have everything pointing to your website. So your Twitter account, your Facebook account, your Flickr account, whatever it might be, your Active Rain account, have it pointing back to your website. And you might, because you want your website to be the hub. Why is it important to point all of the other websites back to your website? Well, because the more backlinks you create, which are essentially all of those websites pointing to your website, the higher your page rank gets with Google. Page rank is a little known number that Google uses to rank your website on how important it is and how authoritative it is in the search engine. That ranking is a ranking anywhere from 1 to 10. Down here you'll see a little page rank screenshot I've got where I've actually looked up the page rank on a local company site, edinarealty.com. Now they're a pretty big powerhouse here, so they've got a page rank of 4 out of 10. Again, page rank ranks from 1 to 10. It can be hard to get an individual agent site up above that 2 or 3 level mark, but the more backlinks you create, the higher your page rank will get. And essentially, the reason Google uses backlinks to generate page link is because Google kind of thinks, okay, the more websites there are pointing to, to a specific realtor's website, the more authoritative that realtor's website is. Meaning that, if a lot of people are pointing to that website, it probably is an important website. So how can I build backlinks for my main real estate network website that I just set up? Again, social media, point all of your social media accounts to it, your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Active Rain, which leads us into the next one, blogging on, I'm actually going to jump down to guest blogging real quick, and I'll get back to blogging on other sites, but guest blogging with a link to the original website, reach out. You can reach out to mortgage lenders in your area, to real estate sites outside of Maine. Ask them if you can, write a blog for them and guest post and have a link back to your website. It's a great way to create backlinks, and trust me, it helps with the search engine results. Go and I have some tools here that I'm going to show you, and go and check one of your competitor sites that ranks well in the search engine. You'll see they have a lot of backlinks. Another great way is blogging on other sites. Okay, So a lot of WordPress websites, the way that they're set up is that they have the ability for you to comment on the blog articles on them. So if I can get this to pull up here, you'll see here's a blog article that my wife had written a number of days back. And when we get down to the bottom, you'll see that there's a section to leave a reply. She actually, we encourage this. We love this. If you read this article and you have something to say about it that's intelligent, go ahead and write down here your comment. You'll see that you've got a section right here for website. When you add your website address in here and you submit your comment, here's an example of someone who commented. You'll see in the lower left-hand side of my screen, there's the backlink to the website of the consumer that left that comment. So, talk to some other realtors. Ask them if they mind if you comment on their blog or if you, guest post. Because the more backlinks you can create, the higher your site is going to rank in the search engine. And this is something that is really specific to WordPress. There are other sites that encourage commenting, but WordPress is a big advocate of this, and it works great. So two tools you can use to check your backlinks as well as your page rank. Write this down, and I'll have a recording of this webinar, so if you don't write it down, you can access these later. But backlinkwatch.com, this is a website that you can actually go to, and you can type in your website address and see how many other websites and what they are that are pointing to your website. PageRankChecker.info, this is a great free little tool where you can go and you can actually check the page rank of your website. It'll show you your ranking from essentially 0 to 10. I said 1 to 10 earlier, but some websites don't have a page rank at all. Okay, so on to the word of mouth website traffic, mobile. Every TMREN website that we build, the main real estate network website that we build with the blogging, the property search, and all the other features has mobile built in as well. So, if a consumer comes to your property search, a mobile website from a mobile device, a mobile website will render. So, let your clients know that you're mobile friendly. Like we've mentioned earlier, there's not a lot of other agents in your MLS that have access to these tools, mobile as well as a property search for all of the listings with all the brokers' listings on it. Put your mobile website on your business card, great way to generate free traffic. You put the website on your business card, anyone goes to it from a mobile device, again, it's going to render a mobile version. And then, of course, put it in your email signature. Put your website in there, and you can also put your mobile URL in there. One thing I'm going to mention as a side note, because I'm sure I'll get questions on this if I don't, it's not a mobile application. So it's not something you go and download from the App Store. It is a mobile website-based browser. So when someone accesses your website and your property search from a mobile device, it renders a mobile version. Social media. Okay. Social media is a great way to, we talked about earlier, generating backlinks, pointing your social media back to your website for those backlinks, but also driving traffic back to your website. Again, back to that hub and spoke model. Your social media is the spokes. Bring all of that traffic you can back to your website. When you get a new listing, post it to Facebook. Post it with a link back to your website. In our back office that all of you receive when you get our website and property search platform, there's a section called URL Search Builder. In the URL Search Builder, you can create a specific link to a specific listing in your MLS, and you can post that to Facebook if it's your listing or if you have the approval of the other agent in your office, and you can drive that traffic back to your website from these social media tools. Post blog content to Active Rain. If you're using Active Rain, post a snippet of your blog content to Active Rain, and then have a link that says read more that goes to your website. Keep your website the hub. Don't be, creating content all over the internet and keeping that traffic on those. Bring all the website traffic back to your website. One other thing I'll mention with Facebook, too. is when you create a blog article, you actually have social media tools where you can actually share that blog article or that content to Facebook as well. Personal story, my wife went to a listing, we're in Minnesota, of course. She went to a foreclosure that when they went into the pool room, it was an indoor pool, that room had not been winterized and it had not been heated over the winter, and the pool had literally lifted 3 feet out of the ground. She posted that listing to Facebook, just a picture in an article, or it was a blog article, to Facebook. She had 279 consumers from Facebook, some she knew, some she didn't know, go to her real estate website to view that listing. So just showing the importance of using social media, driving that traffic from social media back to your website. And then post-agent referrals on sites like IncredibleAgents.com, etc. Again, you can have that backlink and the link back to your website. Consumers these days, they don't trust referrals that you're writing yourself on your website. They want to see the referrals on sites like Zillow, Incredible Agents, etc. And I've got a link here just to show you an Incredible Agents profile. Again, this is my wife's profile. You'll see here when we hover over website, you've got her website there. That's that backlink driving the traffic to her website. Believe it or not, consumers are coming to these websites. They're looking up reviews on agents. Make sure you have all of your information on here and drive that traffic back to your site. Open houses, this is pretty simple and straightforward. This is just something that's works great for my wife. You know, when she does her open houses, she sets up a laptop on the coffee table. She opens that laptop up to her website and specifically up to her property search, and she takes 5 minutes when a new client or new consumer walks into that house, and she just shows them her website and her property search, and she highlights the benefits of it. And really the one thing she points out is the ability to save searches. So again, become familiar with your website. When you do your open houses, get that word of mouth marketing going for your website. Have them sit down. Set that laptop up on your coffee table. Show them the importance of, you know, and how saving searches works, how they can save a search between a specific price range with a specific bedrooms and a specific bathroom, and how your site will send them all the listings in MREIS that match that exact search criteria. So again, another way to generate word-of-mouth website traffic that's easy and free. Okay, on to Craigslist. This is one of the most powerful ways to generate free website traffic. On the left-hand side, well, first of all, Craigslist is the #9 most trafficked website in the world. It gets 20 million hits monthly, 7 billion page views monthly, and it's free to use. Now, I don't know what it is, but consumers these days are using Craigslist to search real estate, like a search engine to search for homes. I don't know if they think they can get deals on Craigslist or what it is, but what you can do is you can use Craigslist as a tool to not only market a listing, but also to create predefined links over on the left-hand side of your listing, driving that traffic back to your website. On the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a little screenshot. This is a screenshot of the traffic to my wife's website. You'll see her, for her Google organic traffic, she got 1,009 visits. For referrals, she got 499. Those are your backlinks and other traffic ways to generate traffic. Direct traffic, 374. Craigslist is #4 on this list. She doesn't spend a lot of time doing Craigslist. She should probably spend more because it's so powerful. She maybe does it every 3rd day or so. She generates new Craigslist ads. 304 consumers came to her website in a 1-month period from free Craigslist ads. So if you haven't gone and built that organic website traffic up yet, or you haven't gotten that word of mouth traffic going, generate some Craigslist ads. Try it. It works great. One thing I'll note is that the simpler and the less enhanced your Craigslist ad is, you can see this is really basic here, the better it works. The better, the easier and the better it drives traffic to your website to actually do that listing. You don't want to display more than 1 photo because then they might go to the, the next Craigslist ad. Get them to your site through Craigslist. If you don't know how to use Craigslist, you want a simple and easy way, there is a vendor called Listings to Leads. They do a great job generating Craigslist ads and can help you automate a part of that process. Listingstoleads.com, they're a great company. Paid website traffic, I'm just going to touch on this briefly because it really is a whole other webinar that we could do on it. But paid website traffic, pay-per-click campaigns are, I mean, it is what it says. You're paying for Google placements. You'll see in the Google search results when I search for a specific, Edina homes for sale, 200 to 300,000, you've got ads related to that specific search. And there's typically 3 ads down below. All I would recommend is if you are going to do pay-per-click, and it does work, tailor your pay-per-click ads, again, not to Minneapolis or Maine real estate, for example. Really get down to that hyper-localized level. It's going to cost you less for the pay-per-clicks, and you can tailor your website more effectively to that. And as part of that, as part of our website that we build you, we allow you to set up certain pages for specific areas, and you can use those for your pay-per-click ads, and it works great. One thing I'll also mention in the back office, we have a section called a URL search builder. Highlighted here is the second bullet point. The URL search builder, essentially what it is it's a property. It looks like a property search. You go in there, you select your city, like Edina. And again, I'm tailoring this to the Google search results, but I would select Edina. I'd set my minimum price range to, 200,000, maximum price range 300,000, and I'm hyper-localizing. I'm really making it a niche search, and I'm paying for clicks for that specific search phrase, and that seems to work better than the wide-open Edina real estate, for example. So to cap things off, that really covers our webinar today for generating website traffic, word-of-mouth traffic, and capturing leads. Again, if you haven't set up your website, I know a large majority of you already have, but I just wanted to run through this again. It's just a $100 one-time setup fee, $49 monthly, covers everything. I've got some screenshots there of the website and the property search. It's really, really a great package that the main real estate network and WolfNet have set up for you. My contact information is right here as well. My Twitter account's @Grant_WolfNet. And that concludes our webinar for today. I'm going to check and see if we have any questions and see if I can answer them. Otherwise, I'll also compose an email as well. So it doesn't look like we have any questions. If you do have any questions, shoot me an email. My email address is grant@wolfnet.com. If you're ready to get set up, I did attach the order form in the email I sent out today as well. Shoot me an email if you have any questions, and we will go from there. Thanks a lot.